What's up, YouTube? La Paloma here, checking on this rainy ass day, doing a little bit of maintenance to the truck. And I get asked a lot of questions about the truck, mods, what all's done to it. And I was doing a little bit of maintenance on it. Figured I might do kind of a build breakdown video on it, just to really show you what I have, which is really not a lot, how I have it. And if you have a similar truck, maybe you got, maybe you want to run it, maybe you want to race it, maybe you just want to see what it can do with a couple mods. So that being said, let's go to the truck. Now, to start with the truck, it's a 2013 GMC Sierra crew cab. It's a 5.3 cast iron block. I think they're alloy heads. I know they're not aluminum heads, and I know they're not cast heads. It's a 6L80, 6-speed. It's got manual shifting. It's got a stock drive shaft in it, stock gear, stock rear end, stock axle, stock brakes, stock fuel system. It's got more stock parts in it than mods. I can tell you that for sure. To get more into details on the mods, I guess we could start with the basic bolt-ons, which would be the headers. Now these headers, when I got them, they're long tubes from TSP. They were uncoated. I'm gonna clarify, they were uncoated, which I figured I'd be okay. But then when I started hitting this thing with some spray, they were getting a little hot, and my power steering pump actually overheated, and it ended up failing on me. So I do recommend for you to get them coated. I did wrap them, and it did help a lot. I don't have that problem anymore. But if you're gonna get headers, I suggest you either get them coated or just wrap them. It's not that hard to wrap them. I wrap these, I installed these, and that's one thing that everything that's done to this truck, I have done right here in my garage. Obviously, I'm not a tuner, so I do have a tuner, but basically, besides a couple buddies that come over and help me wrench on it, I've never had somebody else actually do work for me. It's never been inside of a shop, nothing like that. Everything is backyard built truck. It's not a full race truck. It's a daily driver. I drive it every day. I road trip it, pull trailers with it once in a while. It's not a race truck, but it gets the job done. It's a little fun. It's a daily driver with a little bit of kick. Now, so those are the headers, and I do have the MSD's wires on them. Now, the only reason I got these was because my headers were uncoated, and I was worried that I was gonna burn through the stock ones. So I went ahead and got those. Those are real good when it comes to resisting heat, and they're just a lot stronger spark. If you can see right here, I do have a catch can on it. Now these motors are really, really well known for a lot of blow by, and I highly recommend the catch can on, even if you have a bone stock 5.3 or 6.0 or 4.8, just to keep everything clean and nice and lasting longer. After a while, after a couple, maybe 100,000 miles, if you have ran it without a catch can, you might start to misfire, foul some plugs, just because of all the oil that goes back into your intake as vapor, which I haven't actually, I think it's been about a week since I emptied it. So let's just see if there's anything in it right now. As you can see, there is a little bit in there, and this is maybe 2 weeks, 1 week. Now obviously when it goes into your intake, it won't be straight liquid, it'll be like a vapor, but that will end up getting into your intake, and after a while it can cause you some problems, get some things dirty that aren't supposed to be dirty. But those are the headers, the wires, and the catch can. Now on the intake, I am running the stock intake. These truck manifold intakes are pretty good. I mean, I would get it ported, but if you're going NA, then I'd understand if you upgrade intakes. But for me, since I do have a power adder and I did go with nitrous, it's not really worth it too much unless I'm already like at the end of my mods and I'm just trying to squeeze every little horsepower I can out of it. But right now I'm just sticking with the stock one, stock throttle body. That one is ported. Just a little cheapo cold air intake that I wrapped. I mean, this is a legit budget build. Now, when it comes to the cam, I'm running a stage 2 from TSP. It is a VVT DOD delete. And for these trucks, man, ever since they came out with that DOD and that VVT system, those lifters is just a pain. Those lifters love to fail. So if you want to cam it, just expect to pull heads, swap out lifters, change timing covers, change cam sprocket, just do all the stuff that comes with your basic cam swap, you know, springs and all that, plus a little bit extra to get rid of that system. The valley cover as well, you have to change that out. And now onto the nitrous. On the nitrous, I'm running just your basic fogger nozzle. Another one, the universal kit. I've had the same kit for, I want to say, going on 3 or 4 years. It's been on maybe 3 or 4 different motors. And man, Nitrous Express, man, they get the job done. That's the company I've stayed with since I started, and that's the one I'm sticking with. I can't say how much I'm spraying. That's one thing, but it's a wet kit. Just a universal. It can go from, I think it was 75 to a 300 shot on it. And yeah, I'm getting fuel from the fuel rail. The bottle I have mounted in the truck. I will show you all my switches and stuff later once we get into the interior of the truck. But on the engine bay, when it comes to the nitrous, really all that's here is, when you order a nitrous kit, it comes with a wide open throttle switch, but it's a mechanical one. Now that one works with throttle body that are worked by a cable. Now for the new ones that are fly-by-wire, you can either put it on your pedal, you know, maybe make a little bracket to where when you go wide open throttle, it hits that switch, or you can get you one of these, which you wire up to your to the harness on your throttle body, and you get your signal for the switch. And what that does is it'll read how many volts are going into it and what's the percentage of your throttle body. And you can program it through here, so when you go wide open throttle, it'll automatically click your solenoids. Also here, what I have is a controller. Now this one's real neat because it's cheap and it's simple to wire. There's literally no wiring done. You literally just hook it on to where your relay originally would have been for your nitrous kit. And then up here, you can just control the timing for it. It goes 20% to 100%, and you control with this little knob at how long you want that to take. Now, the rule of thumb is you want all your nitrous to be in by the 60 foot. So right now, it's been working real good for me at half a second for the shot that I have in it. Now, I guess another thing I can show you guys before I hop in the truck is how I get traction. I mean, I don't have a lot of power, but I have enough to break the tires loose. But for traction, I got these bad boys. These are Mickey Thompson ET drags. I have it on a 15 by 10 wheel because I do have drum brakes on the truck and I can run a 15. I know most of these come with disc brakes in the back, or if you have disc brakes in the back, you won't be able to run this small of a tire. I mean, this small of a wheel. And the tire is a 29.5 by 10.5 for a 15. And these are the first time I've ever run slicks. So I got this size because I knew it would fit, and I figured I could run bigger, but I just didn't want to risk it not fitting. But I have a pretty good amount of clearance, so I do plan on getting bigger ones than that. Maybe go to 31, about like 12 or 14, or I'll see what options come when the time comes for me to get some new ones. But for now, these are doing the job. Okay, now for the interior. Now, in the interiors, don't got much done. The only thing I really have in here is stuff for me to control my nitrous. Like I have this button right here, which is, I guess you could say it's kind of like it's a direct, like it won't activate till I press the button, but it also, my nitrous has to be activated and I have to be at 90% throttle. If I go less 90% throttle, or for some reason I let off the button, the nitrous just turns off. You can blow stuff up real fast with nitrous, so you need to put a lot of safety. Now under my middle seat / console, I have my switch panel, which this is the nitrous pressure gauge, and it's all wired to this one switch. So if this switch doesn't get flicked, none of these have power. This is my bottle heater. This actually arms my nitrous, and this was a purge, but my purge kit recently kind of failed on me, so that one's not working right now. But if I flip this switch, all these get power, and I can see my nitrous pressure right here, which, I mean, it's not on right now, so it's not reading anything. But if I turn it off, they all lose power. And I had mentioned before, this switch has to be on, this one has to be flicked up, and this button has to be pressed for the nitrous to work. If any of those get moved, the nitrous automatically turns off. Now for the mounting of the bottle, I do have it under my seat. This one comes up pretty easy. And I just have it mounted on the stock brackets that came with the kit. The bottle heater is just a cheap bottle heater off eBay. I have the pressure sensor up here. The sensor and the gauges are from Glow Shift. I've always been getting my gauges through them. I've gotten plenty of them. They've never seem to fail. The wiring's pretty simple for them. But I did have my bottle in the bed, but like I said, I use my truck a lot. So every time I had to move something or throw something back there, I was always worried about it hitting the bottle and my brackets would become loose. So I figured I'd just throw it up here. You know, it's under the seat. It's not really in the way. If I ever do line up next to somebody at a light, it's easy for me to just reach over here and turn it on. But other than that, man, that's pretty much it on the truck. On La Paloma. She's, you know, she's there. She's hanging on. Doing pretty good. I'm pretty happy with what it is, but you know, it's a work truck. I'm not gonna go too crazy with it. I'm not gonna go full-blown race truck. There is some upgrades that I got in mind doing this year. You know, it's winter, so everything kind of dies down a little bit. Everybody works on their trucks, so I got some plans for it. And if you do want to see more of it, just hit that like button, subscribe. You got any questions on it, you got a similar build you're working on, drop a comment, hit me with a message, and I guess keep a lookout for the next video.